can't be too mad about that. I'm happy to be back in my favorite orange and white. I love this hat in particular. But it's nice that we can be talking about a win and talking about a win that was pretty comfortable. A lot of things to talk about, especially in that first half. It was certainly a much better performance from the offense overall. 488 total yards on the game. A lot of that did come in the first half. But, when you look at what we saw, they made the layups for the most part. That's the thing we've been talking about with this offense. Is okay, they're not going to be national championship good, obviously, at this point. Yeah. But they needed somebody. They need a point guard. They need somebody to distribute the football. And early on in this game, especially in the first quarter, that's what we saw. Cade Klubnik, I thought, he was decisive with the football. The throws themselves weren't always perfect, but he gave his guys a chance. And a lot of run after catch. What we've been saying about this team, they have playmakers that can make those type of plays. So. What did you see from this offense that, you think that they can build on off of this game?
Yeah, I think, kind of some of the stuff that we talked about, Jordan, heading into the game in our preview show of North Carolina, and some of the stuff we wanted to see was this offense get a bit more creative, get the ball to their playmakers in space, and I thought they did a really good job of that in the first half. I thought Cade looked a little bit more comfortable. Certainly coming out with that trick play on play one and it going for a 75-yard touchdown pass certainly sparked them and put some wind in their sails, if you will. But I really think that's kind of the difference that you saw in the first half was, just getting guys open in space, Cade delivering the ball, and you see what can happen when some of these playmakers on Clemson can get into space. And yes, we were playing a very bad North Carolina team. We all recognize that. This offense is far from fixed, but it was nice to see them put at least a half together where they got explosive plays. Cade looked pretty good, and some of those athletes out wide finally got some touches. Shout out Christian Bentaker. I guess we figured out in after 4 weeks, this being the 5th game we've played, I guess we figured out we do have tight ends, and they are productive. We can get them the ball. So that was good to see as well.
Yeah, 100%. Not too much in terms of the ground game. I think they had 89 rushing yards total on the game, led by Adam Randall. He had 8 carries for 30 yards. But he did make a huge impact in the passing game, 2 touchdowns, 73 yards on 4 catches. That was good to see. And obviously you mentioned, getting TJ Moore involved. That was a great way. That's one player that we've been kind of waiting to have kind of a breakout performance and just have just make a big play. I think he needed to see the ball go through the hoop. And I think that was a great play call to catch North Carolina slipping. Great throw by Antonio Williams. Honestly, the best throw we've seen from anybody all year, to be honest with you. Gave his guy a chance, let him, led him at least a little bit, and he had plenty of separation and he was able to take it to the house. Wasn't expecting it, but it was, like you said, it put wind under this offense's sails and allowed them to kind of build some momentum to put together those touchdown drives. It was very much a game where, you could feel the energy. You could feel that they had made some changes. Honestly, on both sides of the ball. Obviously, we saw Tom Allen out there on the sideline for this game. That was
interesting.
But you saw him getting fired up after guys made tackles. I remember that one that TJ Parker made on the sideline, and he got in TJ's face and was hyping him up. That was good to see. That made me smile. That's the energy that we thought we were getting from him. I don't know if they'll continue to do that. I don't know if this was just a North Carolina, week type of thing, and he's going to go right up into the box. But it seemed to work. The defense largely played pretty well today, at least, especially the first team. And they especially after they kind of settled in after that first drive. And again, I want to continue to preface this as we've already said, this UNC team was not good. They are not very good at all. I mean, that's what we saw on tape. Watching this team, I mean, they aren't particularly good at anything. So I mean, this one of the reasons why we felt like, hey, I mean, if you're going to have a get right game, it's got to be this one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Like North Carolina is not a good team, absolutely. But heading into this game, we didn't really know how bad Clemson was.
Right.
So this was kind of the game to figure out, like, hey, are we that bad, or are we just nowhere near where we thought we would be this year? Turns out we're just nowhere near the level that we thought this Clemson team would be, but we're not that bad.
Yeah, we can still make a bad team look bad.
Right, we can really still make a very bad Power 4 team look bad, which is refreshing to see because to this point in the season, Clemson hasn't made anybody look bad. Everybody's made them look bad, actually, including Troy, which is your only other win on the season. So,
yeah, absolutely. So, it was extremely refreshing. And you got your playmakers, the football. That's at the end of the day, Adam Randall, Christian Beneker, Bryant Wesco, and TJ Moore. Obviously, those guys had the biggest days. Antonio Williams, of course, has himself a 1-for-1 75-yard touchdown. I think he's got a passer rating of 1,061 right now. So that's pretty cool.
Sounds like QB1 to me. I mean,
I know I put out
here dealing, throwing touchdown passes. I mean, I ain't never seen a college quarterback with that kind of QBR. So, sound like QB1 to me.
Wow. Did Vandy just take it to the house?
Uh-oh. Wow. Bam in trouble?
Uh-oh. But yeah, it was, hey, this team is still, talented enough that they can out-talent a team that has pretty inferior talent. And so, that's more than what we could say, this time, 24 hours ago. So,
right.
I'm Clemson fans that are watching, that are looking for any reason to hold on to hope for this season. I'm not saying that this is going to be a game that sparks a turnaround, but I think momentum is a real thing in football. Yeah. And, if you can put together a performance like this, I mean, you never know. Sometimes all it takes is that confidence booster. I mean, the App State game last year was a very, very big catalyst for the run they went on in the midpoint of the season, where they were just putting up points on everybody. They weren't against great teams, but like we said, I mean, this team hasn't looked good against anybody at this point. So,
yeah.
Enjoy these wins when you can get them, because you never know. And your opponent next week, Boston College, got absolutely drubbed by Pitt today. So, that transitive property doesn't exist in college football, but at least you can go into that game feeling like, hey, we might be playing another team that we can physically beat up and potentially win this game. But you got to go up to BC, and that's always kind of a difficult challenge because of the travel and just the atmosphere it is. It can be a weird spot. I mean, Clemson haven't lost to BC since, I want to say 2008, 2008. It's probably one of those Matt Ryan years. So it's been quite a while, but and I'm going to knock on wood, but going into that game, it's nice to have a performance like this, to build off of.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely nice to see just an easy win for the Tigers today. We were hoping, me and you, Jordan, we talked about it last week. We were hoping that it would happen. We were hoping that this was the quote unquote get right week. It seemed to produce itself in that way. Had about as an explosive as a first half on offense as you could. The defense, as you mentioned, outside of that first drive, performed very well. and held it for pretty much the entire game. Had some drives here or there, gave up that late touchdown with like 10 minutes to go in the game. But you had a lot of backups in at that point, and you're trying different guys and trying to see what you got there. But overall, it was a really nice win for the Tigers. Obviously, we're not going to make too much about this as far as predicting the rest of the regular season, or the rest of the season for that matter, and what that'll look like for the Tigers. I don't think this North Carolina game really tells you anything when it comes to that, the remainder of our schedule. But it is nice to see that this offense can be explosive, and the defense can shut down an offense, albeit a very limited and bad North Carolina offense. The same thing with their defense. They're not very good on defense. But what are you supposed to do when you play a really bad offense and a really bad defense? You're supposed to blow them out. And that's what Clemson did today. So we'll take this win because we needed one in the worst way possible. And we'll see where this team goes from here. You mentioned you got Boston College next week. That's kind of a sleepy place to play. You're going to be far more talented than them. You're going to be expected to beat them just like you were expected to win this North Carolina game. So we'll see if this momentum from this game can mean anything when it comes to getting any sort of sustained momentum this season, if you will. So we'll see. To be determined.
Yeah. And obviously in a game like this, when you're up by so much early in the game, obviously this is the first time this season we got a real opportunity to see a lot of backups on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start with quarterback. We finally got to see Chris Vezina in the game.
We did.
How would you grade his performance? I mean, for me, it was a mixed bag. Probably a little bit more negative. It started off promising, but they kind of bogged down in the red zone. And I didn't necessarily care for some of the play calls, but also some of the execution on those play calls wasn't great either. I mean,
right.
Those goal line fades to Tristan Smith. I mean, you got to put that ball up. He's 6'5", man. You got to let him
he's
go
huge.
You got to get go.
Give your massive wide receiver out on the edge a chance.
Yep.
But it was nice to see, first of all, Chris Vezina finally get in a game and see him in an actual game with time left on the clock and them calling relatively normal plays. You mentioned some of the play calling issues there when he was in, but he went on a drive there, drove them down, looked like he was gonna score a touchdown. Didn't work out, obviously, but hey. It was not great. I mean, just being completely honest, it was not great. You can see why they're going to continue to roll with Cade Klubnik, in my opinion, regardless of what happens the rest of this season. I think you see that. But it begs the question of why does he not look better 3 years in? It starts making you ask some questions about development when it comes to the quarterback position at Clemson and whether that is being adequately developed on this team. Because a guy that sits for 3 years, you would assume is ready to go if need be. And Chris Vezina, although does not look terrible out there, I think he's far from ready to go. I think Cade still gives you obviously your best chance to win on this team, right? And those were legitimate questions being asked prior to this game. But now that you've seen him in game, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. He clearly still needs some work.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we did see Trent Pierman as well, and probably the drive
MVP was 2 spring games ago. You remember?
Yes, the MVP 2 spring. I continue to. I mean, honestly, when you look at it, I mean, Trent Pierman is probably the player. Like, if you want somebody of any of the quarterbacks that you want it to put in that is going to take what's there and not not make mistakes. He's
Yeah.
probably that guy.
Right.
But obviously he's extremely limited as a thrower in terms of his arm talent. So, that you're never really going to see him get that opportunity.
No.
But the drive he led was pretty good until the fumble.
A fumble on the goal line.
Shout out to Clark Sanderson on that catch. That was a tough catch over the middle. But it's clear you don't have a true answer right now at quarterback for the future. It doesn't seem as it stands right now. I think Chris Vezina is going to get his shot, but I'm wondering I'm wondering what you do in the offseason, with K Klubnik gone, because at the end of the day, I feel like this quarterback room needs a real competition, and if it's going to be between, say, Chris Vezina and I don't know, Chris Denson and Tate Reynolds, I don't know if any of those three guys are going to be ready to go and truly starter caliber ready, or if they don't especially if they don't have somebody to truly push them, somebody that is capable of starting. I don't think, it just doesn't look like you have a real answer or somebody that can operate the offense at that level. Except for maybe Trent Pierman, but again, they're not going to play him. And actually, does he even have eligibility after this season? I'm not entirely sure.
I think, he's got to be close to gone after this, right? Like,
I'll have to.
I don't know.
Somebody can look that up for me, or honestly, I can do it right now. But I
don't know how much he has left. But you think about, as much as K Klubnik has struggled this year, you look at the quarterbacks that are behind them that got in the game. Obviously, we didn't get to see Chris Denson in the game, but you saw, everybody else essentially, and it's not great. It's not great. And regardless of what happens the rest of the season, whether K Klubnik turns it around and has, a great, second half of the season, if you will, or whether he doesn't and continues to struggle throughout portions of the season, he's gone. So what are your answers for next season? Because at some point you do have to think about that. And it might be, this might be a time where Dabo Swinney might have to go dabble in the transfer portal for a quarterback. And I know that's a competitive market, and that market is going to require some significant NIL funds to land anybody that you really want to land. So that'll be something interesting to kind of think about and talk about as the season goes. And obviously as we get towards the end of this season, and whether this team makes a bowl game, doesn't make a bowl game, or whatever happens, those talks will certainly start ramping up as we head near spring practice and that transfer portal window opens up.
Yeah, it's definitely something they're going to have to consider and truly, give some real thought into, because and especially, with how this season has gone, you have to be constantly looking to bring in competition to your roster in general, not just at the quarterback position, but everywhere. And I don't know, maybe Chris Vezina goes into this offseason and he comes out and he's the guy, but putting your faith in that, given the track record of this staff, this offensive coaching staff, I can't see it. I definitely think this staff will have some shake up after this season anyway. But
I do. Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't put the onus on a new coaching staff to try to bring up a guy that they didn't recruit, because we've seen how that's worked out. I think that's something that we're going to have to continue to monitor. And listen, it's one opportunity. Maybe you blow out some other teams and Vezina comes in and he looks a lot better, and we're having a different conversation. But right now, it just, based off of my eyes and based off of what we've been told and what people who have been in practice, it's
even in past spring games, and when the limited time he has gotten into games, we've never really saw Chris Vezina go out there and be like, and we were like, oh, wow, okay, we got something working behind Cade. That's never been the case. And if today is any inclination of what the future holds with Chris Vezina, unfortunately, the future does not look bright. So, I mean, I think you got to go bring somebody in, because I don't think Tate Reynolds is not going to come in and be ready to start at quarterback.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury anyway.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, he's. I think he's injured. He's shut down for the rest of his senior season, right?
Yeah.
So he's not going to play any football this entire fall. He'll be rehabbing from his injury and getting ready to, come to spring practice and all that kind of stuff. But if he's an early enrollee, I'm assuming he is. I don't know. But look, I think you got to go get somebody in the offseason. I think you got to go get a transfer quarterback. I really do.
I tend to agree, and that's where I'm sitting right now. But moving on to like the other guys we saw, the other depth pieces we saw, it was certainly a mixed bag on both sides of the ball. Defensively, backup defensive line. I mean, I think you have some guys that flash, but right now it's still very, very green right now. The touchdown drive, the play that UNC scored their lone touchdown. I mean, you got Champ Thompson like just completely getting worked out of his gap, and then Corey and Gibson can't, has a play on the running back and just basically just gets stiff armed out of the play. I mean, you're not there yet. I thought the linebackers had their best game of the year as a unit. They were pretty good. Yeah. Starters and honestly, I liked some of what I saw from some of the backups. I thought Kobe McLeod actually had a really nice game.
Yeah, he looked pretty good today.
Jeremiah Alexander, I think he probably should have had a pick. But I thought he played a little bit better. Still don't want him in coverage, and I think he got beat. Well, he was asked to cover a receiver in zone. Just it wasn't great. But again, I do think that the linebackers largely played a really, really nice game. What any standouts for you? You can go starter or backup, but anybody on defense that kind of stood out to you?
I mean, I think you mentioned it, but the linebackers, I think, probably played their best game today. And it was nice to see. I felt like maybe just the entire defense really just came out with a lot more energy, a lot more fire. They were flying around a lot more, it felt like today. Tink Kelly out there on the edge, he had a couple nice plays today. That was nice.
He got hurdled too. I felt bad for him there.
Yeah, he did get hurdled. That's not great, but he did have a couple nice plays out there. It was nice to see that kind of depth coming into form there. Stephylon Green, he flashes all the time, but he looked really good today. I did, for as much flack as he's gotten so far this season, I did notice TJ Parker a little bit more today. Definitely looked to be flying around a little bit more and just kind of involved in plays a little bit more than I've recognized to this point in the season. So
he got pressure.
When you kind of go in on these players and they respond in a positive way, you got to kind of give them a little bit of a shout out too. So a little bit of love to TJ Parker over there and how he looked today. So defensively, that's kind of what I saw. I kind of liked Tom Allen on the sideline. That was a bit of a surprise when I turned on the game and saw him and they showed him and he was on the sideline. I was like, wait, what? I had to do a double take. I was like, what are we doing here? Because and I don't know if the effort or the level of play equated to him being on the sideline or not, or just you're playing a team that is not doing well this season, right? It's impossible to know what the quantifiable factor of him being on the sideline, especially in a game like this, was. But to me, it looked positive. And I hope we see more of that going forward. Because he is a guy that demands a high amount of accountability, and I think you can just do a little bit better of a job in game if you're down there in people's faces, demanding that accountability from drive to drive, from play to play.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, the energy on the sideline was different. With it seemed like with Tom Allen out there. I saw somebody say this a couple of weeks ago. It might have been Tiger Commenter over on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. He said that maybe we have the wrong coordinators in the wrong coordinator in the box and the wrong coordinator on the sideline.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Just personal opinion, but I would agree.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good to see the energy defensively. It was different, and the guys were they were flying around. Again, North Carolina offense not very good, but we haven't seen this defense play with that level of intensity all season. So maybe the first half against LSU, they played really well, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So it was good to see. We haven't actually had a chance to talk about it. You mentioned Tink Kelly, and obviously he's kind of seen his snaps grow, and that certainly played a factor into why Shelton Lewis is now shutting it down and going to enter the portal. It's good that this team had a win like this. Because you and I talked about it through text. We were like, this might not be the only one. This might not.
Right.
We might see this on. You still might see it, but a win like this keeps a lot of players engaged that otherwise might have checked out.
Especially when you can get a bunch of these guys in to play the game today and get touches, and get some significant snaps that they have not gotten to this point in the season. I think it can't be overstated how big it was to get a blowout win against North Carolina today and get some of those younger guys that could be thinking about transferring or shutting it down for the season, or whatever the case may be. It's huge. It's huge because a lot of those guys got some run today, and they got to be on the field, and they got to have fun and make some plays and put some tape out there for what they could be as a Clemson Tiger. So I think that's huge, and hopefully that will curb some of the unrest that would lead to some more guys shutting it down for the year and telling the staff that they're going to enter the transfer portal instead of finishing the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Team as a whole, one thing, obviously this game was a really sloppy one in terms of penalties.
Bro, was that one drive? What was that in the first half?
It was in the first half.
That drive.
I think Clemson was up
28-0 on the same play.
Yep.
What in the?
You had a holding, you had an ineligible man downfield, and you had a offensive pass
interference. I was like, he kept going. I was like, ain't no way. We got 3 penalties on the
first
same
and 40,
play.
Man.
That's crazy. That is wild. I don't think I've ever seen a team get 3 penalties on one play.
Yep. It was something. I mean, and it wasn't biased by in any stretch of the imagination. I mean,
no.
Both teams. It was. I think Clemson had 8 penalties, and UNC had 7, so it was pretty much even. Just a very sloppy football game. And that's one thing that if I had to take away, I mean that you got to clean that up again, because against better football teams, like that's really gonna come back to bite you.
That gets you beat. Yeah,
I didn't care for some of those calls. I thought the roughing the passer on Fylan Green was kind of rough. I mean, I don't really know what you want him to do there. I get you can't land your weight on him, but I mean he's already bringing the quarterback to the ground. It's kind of hard to just.
Nothing about that hit looked egregious or like he was trying to put any extra on it or anything like that. I mean, it looked like a normal football play, a normal hit on the quarterback. I don't know what you want him to do. I get you want to protect the quarterbacks and all that kind of stuff, and football's kind of just built around that, and it gets even worse in the NFL. But it's just, I mean, what do you want that defensive lineman to do when he's already in the motion of hitting the quarterback? Somehow you want him to not land on him, so he's got to do like this tuck and roll, brace himself so he doesn't put, too much weight on the quarterback. It's a little much, those kind of calls for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it goes for Clemson, like I feel the same way about all those kind of calls. Like, I don't know what you want these 350 plus pound defensive linemen or these not 350, but these 250, 300 pound defensive linemen, like, what are they supposed to do?
Right. I mean,
it's the contact sport. Like, you're going to get hit. Like, I could see if you like drive the dude into the ground and there's some extra behind it. But, if you're just already in the process of hitting him, I can't magically stop.
No. And John and Adam make good points in the chat. I mean, the throw from Vizina, I think that was on the jump ball that they called a pass interference. You probably could have also called roughing the passer. I mean, on the hit.
Yeah, where he got hit in the upper chest area there. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very nebulous, unclear criteria for what they want to call roughing or not. I don't know. Hey, but you might have got a bailout earlier in the game when on the Adam Randall touchdown. So I guess you take.
We did get bailed out. I do think his foot hit the line.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll take it. And that dude deserves it. So it was a great play by him. Great effort. Not giving up on the play, unlike a lot of the North Carolina defense on that play. But I mean, I'm fine with the no call for the Vizina hit. But I would like to see it called the other way as well, with that, roughing the passer right there.
Yeah.
I think both of them should be no calls. That's how I feel about it.
Absolutely. But we're kind of nitpicking here. I mean, you won 38-10.
Right.
There certainly was sloppy at times a lot, and obviously the second half offensively was pretty unimpressive. How many points?
Yeah.
Scored 3 points in the second half.
3 points.
Not great. Can't do that against better teams, but at least we saw from the starters that they can put up points against a bad football team. So we'll take the wins where we can get them.
Yeah, we got to. We have to. First Power 4 win of the season. We needed it in the worst way. We are now 2-2 on the season, heading up to Boston College.
2-3.
2-3. Excuse me. 2-3. 2-3. My bad. 2-3 on the season, heading up to Boston College for another road game. So we'll see. We don't play great in the Valley anymore, so maybe these road games are a good thing.
Yep. Any other standout? Special teams was, fine, I guess. I was kind of confused about the you kick the 50-yarder. But UNC calls timeout and then you pooch punt it.
What was that?
Nolan missed it. I get Nolan missed it. But
go give him another opportunity.
Go give him another opportunity.
I would have kicked it again. I didn't understand that at all either. When he I don't know. I don't know why he put it there.
That didn't make any sense. And then some of the I had some questions about some of the play calls. Why jet sweeps to Ian Shefflin, as Adam mentions. Like, what are we doing?
Well, you mean out of all the guys on your roster, that's not the guy you would pick to run a jet sweep with? I can't imagine why.
What was I thinking? He's so fast.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know. That was something. They desperately want to get him a touchdown. It's very clear. I mean, they keep they keep isolating him, trying to get him in one-on-one situations where in the jump ball. I mean, I think that's a better play call than running the jet pass. That made no sense.
I'd rather see you run I ISO him to one side and run a jump ball. Like just toss it up, see if he can go get it. Like not a jet.
And they did do that. And Vizina had to put the ball in a better spot there too. So, but still,
a jet sweep, no, sir, no. You got no business running a jet sweep at all, ever.
I don't know why they keep getting it to. I don't know why they feel like they need to make a concerted effort to get him the football when I think Austin Pat Henry is the most thankless player on the team, honestly, because I mean he's a starter for you and he doesn't really get those same opportunities, but he's the most violent blocker on the team. Like every time I watch him, it's just like he is driving somebody into the dirt. Like it's pretty special stuff. I mean, But we saw Christian Beneker, who obviously I think has a ton of. You and I both think have a ton of potential, and could be one of the better tight ends that Clemson has had. But you gotta give the guy willing to do the dirty work some love too. I mean,
that should be the guy, especially in games like this where it's clear no matter what you do, you're going to win the game. Like that's when when you talk about having a program where, there's a standard and, you talk about all these guys that work hard and blah, 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 blah. That's when you reward those guys, right? That's when you reward an OPH and give him a couple calls. Those shouldn't be going to somebody like Ian Shefflin. I got nothing against him, but what has he ever done for this football team? I mean, just being completely honest. I'm like, yeah, he was a great basketball player for Clemson. Cool. What's that got to do with being a football player?
Right.
Adam mentioned he'd rather see Tristan Smith get a touchdown. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
He had a big catch, big fit, jump ball. Like, wow, that's been in the playbook the whole time. Like,
right.
You
some of this stuff is puzzling when you watch it, but yeah,
that was something. But yeah, it's again nitpicking. Just happy that you made a bad team look bad. You won comfortably, and we came out of this not sweating because I mean you and I both picked fairly competitive games. I think I was 27-17, something like that, and I think you were like 28-24. It was something like that. You thought it was going to be a one-score game, so
yeah. I
have
think
to go back and look. We didn't write it down this time because we're doing so terribly on our picks, but we at least we got the win right.
I think I picked 20-17. Clemson wins by a field goal.
20-17. Okay.
I did not give Clemson's offense any respect in my pick, and I guess gave UNC's offense too much.
It seems, but hey, we neither one of us were really all that accurate. So, but hey, Clemson moves to I don't even know what the number is at this point, but they are still undefeated with Garrett Riley as the offensive coordinator when they score 30 or more points, which goes to show you, hey, putting points on the board means you're more often than not you're going to win the football game. As much as we've ranted and raved about the defensive struggles over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
you've still been good enough that when you score 30, you've won every single game.
Right.
So, yeah. That would have been nice against some of the other teams that you've played this year. But hey, it's better to start now than never at all, I guess. And Syracuse is getting their ass whooped. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's about right.
Yeah, they just have they got no answers without Steve and Jelly.
Yeah.
They got nothing.
No.
They have nothing.
Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, I think anything else you point out? I mean, I think we've covered just about everything. I mean, we talked about the second half and the garbage time and kind of what we saw. And, I definitely think the second and third teams obviously are second and third team for a reason. I don't think there were a ton of guys that I saw out there that don't that don't usually play much that I'm like, oh, they need to play. So I mean, I think generally you're playing your best players, which you and I both kind of agreed. It's kind of, I mean, that the problem hasn't been that you're not playing guys you should. It's the fact that the guys that you should be playing aren't playing as well as they should be. So at least today for one game, you got that largely. So
for one game, we'll see if it's one game only. We'll see if we can get any sort of sustained momentum out of this. I got really nothing else to cover. I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Right, Clemson has played 4 bad ball games up until this game. Today they played pretty well. They played really well. Right, outside of the just not really doing much offensively in the second half. But again, it was nice to see them to be explosive. It was nice to see them finally beat a team bad that they should have beaten bad. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the win while I can because they've been in serious short supply so far this season. We'll see what happens the rest of the way.